Hi everyone. Oh, sorry. Hi everyone. Welcome to our presentation. Today's topic is autism. My name is Ashley and I'm presenting with Rachel, Clarissa, and Sedona. To start, autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects how people interact with others, how they communicate, learn, and behave. Usually, symptoms appear the first to 2 years of life, and you can be diagnosed at any age. Um, It's called spectrum because every child can show different strengths and different challenges. Like I said, it's diagnosed at any age. Some early signs might include limited eye contact, and this is usually the first to 2 years of life. Some are limited eye contact, not responding to their name, delayed speech or babbling, repetitive behaviors like flapping their hands, and strong sensitivities to sounds, textures, or even lights. Um, Not all children show the same signs, but noticing these patterns can help families and even educators get early support and intervention for these kiddos.
The reason we chose this video for our media selection is because it's a credible source and it also does a really great job at explaining what autism is in simple language, which would be amazing for students, parents, educators, just anybody that wants to learn a little bit more about this disability in particular. Some related laws that relate to autism and disabilities in general are the Individuals with Disability Act, and this basically just allows individuals with disability to have a free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive form. It allows them an IEP if needed. It also allows them parental involvement if needed and access to special ed services like speech or occupational therapy. Section 504 is similar. It basically forbids any type of discrimination for students with disabilities in programs that receive government funding. So public education is one of those. A 504 plan, which is basically a plan that provides accommodations but is not specifically special education. That will be like extra time on tests, specified seating, things like that. And then it also ensures that all students have an equal and equitable access to education. The next one is going to be ADO, Americans with Disabilities Act. And basically, this is 504 plan projected into the real world and workplace. It protects people with disabilities from discrimination during employment, public services, and in the community. It ensures that students and people in general receive free public transportation, stuff like that, public services, anything like that. This can mean that in the workplace they have accommodations, extended time, things like that, noise canceling headphones if needed, structured schedule if needed. Yeah, and that is all of them.
Hi. Next thing we're going to talk about is physical, social, and emotional needs. So, the first thing is physical, and it is very important for individuals with autism to participate in physical activities because it helps basic physical health and also allows for social interaction during those activities, which is important because sometimes that can be limited and it can help with communication and just having conversations and even getting friends. And then that ties in with the next need, which is social. Oftentimes, people with autism have trouble communicating and can be nonverbal, which there are a few tools to help with these social needs, such as the alternative augmentative communication, which is often a tablet or an iPad that has different words and phrases that the individual can press and express what they are needing or wanting, which is a great tool for those who are nonverbal or close to nonverbal. And then the next thing is speech therapy, which is helpful for all the different ranges of their level of communication, and that is a great tool. And then the next one is emotional needs. So individuals with autism have trouble with emotional processing, and there's many ways that or things that you can do to help with this, because often they find themselves having a hard time being able to regulate the anger that they have or the sadness, etc. So oftentimes they'll scream or cry or things like that. So a way that you can help is to give the individual time to process and regulate their emotions and understand that that is normal and it's okay, and just let them figure it out. And then another thing is that getting rid of unnecessary sensory inputs, which this is a awesome thing as well, because a lot of times individuals with autism have sensory sensitivities, and so getting rid of those unnecessary sensory inputs is a great way to calm him or her down.
Okay, so the next part is the 3 ways to address the needs. So at number 1, we have providing structured support. An example of this could be visual representation and pictured icons, as well having task breakdowns, which means a very detailed step-by-step, so it could be a little easier for the students. And then having a daily routine schedule that's very consistent, because it allows them to stay on task and know what's coming. And then for the second one, we have having good communication between students and teachers. That could come a long way, especially for those who have disabilities. And it's important to provide different tactics and strategies for students with autism. So not everyone learns this the same way. So having different ways on which they're able to grasp the topic or what they're learning by making it like a little easy for them or like more comfortable for them. And then the third one is being able to have and create a friendly environment. For example, this could be by having quiet spaces when needed, having fidgets that can help reduce stress, for example, just like any sensory tool, and having like little tiny brain breaks. So then the next one will be 3 ways to promote inclusion. So at number 1, we have having group work allows students to collaborate and interact with one another and helps promote inclusion because it helps the one-on-one time with other peers. Number 2 is by having accessible learning also helps promote inclusion because it allows students with disabilities be able to work along with everyone else, and also allows equal learning and education. So this could go along with the don't treat them any less, but treat them how you would normally treat a student. And then for the third one, we have having self-advocacy can be a real strong way to promote inclusion, since it helps students with autism be able to express their needs and goals and allows them to participate in any school activity. So some ways to promote these needs. So at number 1, we have by having an inclusive and accessible environment is very important to reduce stress and to support social emotional well-being by also improving learning outcomes. And then at number 2, we have promoting communication. Supports can help a student and teacher succeed in school by being able to reduce stress and frustration, and also help increase social engagement and help students be able to learn independently. And then little by little over time, students will eventually be able to learn without any frustrations. By that, we meant that by being like the stress level and the frustration level won't be as high as some have it right now, if that makes sense. So by being able to reduce a little bit of that stress could help them learn better.
Next, we're going to talk about 3 community resources. So the first one is the DDD, which is the Division of Developmental Disabilities, and they help individuals work through and gain the ability to live independently and thrive while they do that. And then the next one is AZEIP, which is the Arizona Early Intervention Program, and it helps family members and caregivers of individuals with developmental disabilities by giving them resources and opportunities for them to get help or whatever they need, etc. The next one is RSA, which is Arizona Rehabilitation Services Administration. and their goal is to help employment of individuals with developmental disabilities. And this correlates with independence because once they get employed and start working, then they can either move out or work with others and help their independence. So for our check for comprehension, we asked the audience to write a short reflection of our material and to highlight one thing you found interesting or one thing that you didn't know from our presentation.
We have our references. These are just our references that we used throughout this project. So whatever we used on our slides will be here. And then lastly, thank you for letting us present this presentation to you guys about autism. And yeah.